Welcome to Candid Conversations with the Grand Canions. We thank you guys for joining us on yet another Thursday evening. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And alongside, I have my hubby with his fine self, Coach Ken.
Well, you didn't even tell them your name.
They know who I'm here.
Why you being all extra today? You didn't
I am your host, comedian Simply Net, Karen Canion, and or
AKA.
that's what you do.
Okay.
And or Wookie.
Wookie.
Alongside it with my fine husband, Coach Ken.
I am, and I am. Yes, welcome, baby.
You am fine and you am Ken.
And your husband. I am your husband.
Okay, you am fine.
See,
and
you
am
missing everything. You missing what I was. Never mind.
Okay.
Anyway,
I wasn't picking up what you
hey,
was
babe,
throwing down. Yes.
how are you?
I'm fantastic. I hope you are. I'm tired.
You know what?
She's sleepy.
You've been grinding in
I've
that
been
weight
grinding
room.
so hard.
Hey, you went so
Hey.
hard. We worked out together today, and I was like, I gave out before you did on them
Listen.
sit-ups, like whatever you gave me them ab workouts and
Yeah,
stuff.
I've been on TikTok.
You've been ticking and talking. So listen, let's talk about last week.
Mm-hmm.
What was last week? Because I know you know.
Last week's show was Happy Wife, Happy Life, Not.
And then last week we had comment a lot of. I like it when brothers comment because and basically, y'all, if you haven't seen it, I think you should go back and watch that because we talked about that's a misnomer, but I guess a more appropriate phrase would be happy spouse, happy house, because then it is incumbent upon both parties to meet the needs of each other. Right. And so that I guess that's going to lead us into what we're going to tonight.
It is.
So
Make sure you tell us who our sponsor is and to subscribe. That's your job on this evening.
I thought you was handling everything. That's why I ain't
I
saying
never
that.
said that. I never said that.
All right, y'all. Listen, first of all, if you're not a subscriber, I want you to click that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you will be notified when we drop something new. And y'all, here at this channel, it's mostly information on content on relationships, how to navigate modern day relationships, y'all, so that you can have a fulfilling emotional relationship.
I was like, what is it was
I was
stuck.
trying to make it work good, but it didn't really work good.
Stuck. I was like,
I got stuck on live
you okay?
TV.
What they say that is?
And also, the show is sponsored by the Pocket Communication Coach. Listen, y'all, we created the only AI communication software for relationships. And what I did was I programmed for months. I've been programming today, y'all. Programming AI to think like I think and help people be better at communication. And if you're interested in improving your communication, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com. Soon it's going to be everywhere, y'all. Soon it's going to be everywhere. And then you'll be like, I heard of that. And now you know why. All right. What you got for me today?
Okay, so I want to kind of keep going with where we were last week.
Okay.
We had so many men that responded to the video or our episode last week. I wanted to talk about, check out the video and then we'll come back and talk about it. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was deep. So tonight I want to talk about creating a safe space for our men. We always, as women, feel like we should be safe. We should be protected, that the man should protect us. But a man wants to feel just as safe as a woman. So, Ken, I want to ask you, what did you think about that video?
Yo, I even took notes.
Mm-hmm.
What struck me was his conviction,
Mm-hmm.
because it's obvious that he said it from a place of experience.
Yes.
Wasn't like he heard a video,
Right. Right.
and he just put a voice to what he was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I looked at it, I began thinking about myself. Okay, because he talked about in their emotional needs not being met,
Mm-hmm.
the way you communicate to me. And then he said, and then the thing that was most, I don't know, profound
Mm-hmm.
was when he said, you are in love with the idea of me
Yes.
and not me.
Mm-hmm.
You reject who
Mm-hmm.
I am. Ooh,
The idea of me. And then when you reject me, I don't feel safe. So I want to talk about, let's kind of like unfold it, if we will,
Okay.
some of the things that were said. Now, the first thing is I want to ask you is how important we think of men as our safety for everything. We look at men for financial safety, emotional safety, physical safety. How important is it for a man to feel safe in a relationship?
Whew, this is a good topic. And so allow me to say something using us. Before I use us, I'm going to go to story time and use us.
Okay.
But it is important. You know why it's important? Because men have been taught, we have been groomed, we have been conditioned, we have been programmed to be a protector. That's just what our society does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but we've also been groomed to do something else, to hide our feelings. We've been groomed, y'all. I don't care. So a lot of women out there get in a relationship with a guy and they say to me, he's emotionally unavailable, coach. He don't communicate. He don't say anything. And I said, what if I told you that he was programmed that way? No, he wasn't. I wasn't. I said, well, the truth is you've been programmed differently than us. So I said, allow me to explain. I said, how many of you have little boys? And they raised their hand. And then I said, how many of you told your little boy to suck it up when things didn't go in his way? When he was feeling a certain kind of way. You was like, suck it up, be tough, don't cry. And they were like, yeah. I said, do you know when you started doing that, that's when you started programming him. Programming him that showing emotion was not good. Showing emotion is not optimal. It is not strength. And so what we also condition him is that suppressing your emotion, not saying anything, holding it inside is good. Now think about that. As a youngster, it's good, but as an adult, we see it as bad.
But that's what you've been programmed. That's
what you've been programmed to do. And so what happens is when he grows up, is men want safety too. They want, and that's why a lot of men, when he meets the woman of his dreams and he begins to feel like, okay, this is a safe space. This is a space where I can share my emotion. And as soon as he shares his emotion about something he doesn't like or whatever, she said, oh, you all in your feelings. You so sensitive, or you sassy,
Right.
or just get over it, suck it up. And you know what he does? He goes back to that little boy. And then you know what he said? He shuts down. Shuts down.
So he also the guy talked about not feeling safe by the way the woman speaks to him.
I'm scratching my head for that.
How can my words put you in a space where you feel unsafe with me?
Okay. In many ways. Okay. Do you know? So allow me to explain something to you.
Okay.
Do you know when a person attacks verbally, do you know what that is? Your autonomic nervous system is saying that is a threat to me. That this is what happens to your body. That's why you tense up. That's why you yell, because you sense a threat. It senses a threat. And so even though you're talking to me a certain way, and And what happens, that threat might be emotionally, but might be mentally or even physically. And so that is why when people get triggered, they respond right away. Either fight, they either do four things, one of the four things. They either step up and fight, okay? They either flee, they either fawn. Fawn is people pleasing, they acquiesce, okay, whatever you say, or they freeze. They don't know what to do. So they do one of those things. But either way, it is a response to a threat. So you ask the question, you don't feel safe. Like how does a man not feel safe? Well, when you talk to them, well, a lot of times the way a man doesn't feel, so sometimes when you coming at him and he feels he got to argue, he doesn't feel safe. So what does he do? I got to fight. So we start arguing. And then
why you ain't put the trash out?
all of that. And then
you feel like
you always doing this. You don't never do this, and you ain't never doing that. And so for him, he got to defend himself.
I remember one time I said to you, you always say, you was like, nobody always does anything. Always, Karen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so
because you remind me of that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what we do, baby. So think about it like this. Some men, what do? They shut down. That means they flee. I don't want to deal with you. I'm going to go in my room.
And then we wonder why they won't speak, why they won't talk.
Right.
It's because of how we speak to them.
It's how we respond to threats. And so a threat, it might not be somebody trying to pull a gun on us. No.
But no.
But that's a threat from somebody that I love. Somebody that is speaking to me or somewhere. Somebody who is threatening my idea of myself.
How would one tell somebody without looking or sounding like a simp or soft? How could a man tell a woman, I don't like how you're speaking to me, and really get that point across without it being like a dogmatic or...
Everybody listen to me. And then when you hear what I'm about to say, you need to join my new communication class called Just Ask. I'm going to give you the ultimate communication strategy. Ultimate. Everybody listening. It's 4 parts, and I taught it the other day. It's like the first part is you identify what happens when you yelled at me. Then part 2 is you tell them how I felt. I felt disrespected. Okay? Part 3, you say which caused me to go to my room and not talk. And step 4, I need to be in a relationship where we both respect each other and we don't yell. I just gave you a 4-part. Most people don't. It's called I language, but it's called the I language strategy that is so powerful. I can express to you without condemning you. I can tell you the behavior, but I can tell you how it made me feel. I can tell you what it caused in me. I can tell you what I need. Now I'm not condemning you.
That's so good. I didn't stop and ask the audience, what do you think? What would you tell a man, or how would you express to your significant other, a friend, your wife, that you don't feel safe in the relationship? How would you express that? This is something that is really big.
Can I give you a story time?
Yes.
So, we do this podcast. And the one thing about it, we are real, we're raw, and we're relatable. And we don't always agree, but we always love each other. The one thing you have done for me, you have seen me at my lowest. You have seen me when I've cried. You've seen me, and we had this conversation the other day. One of the things you have never done, and this is one of the things where I teach people where something is not safe. You have never weaponized anything I've ever told you about me. There are times when I feel about certain things that we may have had a conversation about today, about how I feel when I'm scared. You know, not a whole lot of things really just put fear in me, but there are a couple of things. And when I'm scared, you know, because I don't tell you, I just act different. And what you do is you make it okay for me to say that I'm scared. Not that I want to, I don't want to, because let me tell you how you make it okay. Number one, you validate my feelings. You validate the fact that I feel it. Number two, then what you do is you never, ever, ever weaponize what I've told you. You don't ever bring it up again. That's why your little bitch ass was scared about such and such. You don't ever do that again. And then number three, you create a partnership where you say, we can do this together. Well, is you about to cry?
I am.
What, you about to start crying? I'm looking at you. What you tearing up for? See, this live TV, y'all.
You know, I know women will say, you know, we want to feel safe too. And we do. We do want to feel safe. But tonight is not about us. Tonight, we're always talking about what women want, what women need. But I feel like, you know, men should be celebrated and they should be heard.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate this right here. The gentleman spoke of, you know, he said that when I tell you that I'm tired, rather than you listening or investigating, you tell me everything that you do.
Wow. So in other words, she victimizes herself, and that's a big thing, huge thing.
And so I appreciate us. Do I do that? Am I?
I mean, you done it once or twice, but not often. Not often. I mean, I did it to you the other day. Remember a couple Sundays ago when we had that conversation about when Madison was in the car?
Oh my goodness!
And then you turned it around. You just, I
Turn it
knew
around on me.
I kind of knew what I was doing, but you know, at the time, I came back later and I apologized for what I had done. I didn't apologize. Listen to me. I didn't apologize because you felt a certain way. That is the worst thing ever. That's not an apology. I apologize for what I did to cause that. So yes, I apologize.
He apologized because he was wrong.
Yeah, I was. I was. I'm a coach, but I'm a human being. So no, yeah.
So when I know there have been times in our conversations where I might say, hey, you didn't take out the trash. And you say, hey, well, you didn't wash the dishes. And then the conversation.
Or take out the stuff in the dishwasher.
Take out the stuff in the dishwasher.
Yeah. I was just making it real.
And so the conversation, you never clear up what the conversation was about. So when that happens, when a man goes to his significant other and says, you know, hey, I'm tired, or I am exhausted, or, you know, she may ask him to do something. He's like, look, I'm tired. And she goes into her day. How do you stop that without her feeling disrespect? Because this is about proper communication, right?
Yeah, there's a way to do that. So here's how you do that.
Okay.
The way you do it, when a person tells you how they feel, and then they go into, I did this and that, and I say this. This is how you do it without them protecting you. You say, I would be more than happy to talk about how you feel, and I want to explore that, and I want to deal with that. I said, is there any way we can explore what I'm feeling first? Notice it now. Are you going to deny that? I mean, what you going to do if I say that?
And see, I say that I say it wrong.
What you
I
mean?
be like, dang, I mean, can we talk about mine? I mean, I do that wrong.
Yeah,
I do that wrong.
But what I just did to you, I did two things. Number one, I acknowledged your feelings. Okay? I acknowledged your feelings, and I said, yes, you have a valid concern. I said, would it be okay? I ask you collaborative. Would it be okay if we dealt with the issue that I raised first, and then the issue you raised fully secondly?
Okay. I
That-
like that. I like
And
that
so
a lot.
what it does is it provides an environment where both people are mutually respected and honored, and what they feel is valued. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I said I was going to stop saying, does that make sense? I said I was going to stop saying
Because what if I've been like, hell no?
that. I would have to rephrase it. I would have to rephrase it. But I want to say something to you and to a lot of women listening. There are men out there who are going through mental health is real. And they are walking away from this earth on their own, deciding that they no longer want to be here. And nobody, that's why it's good to have a friend. Iron sharpeneth iron. And a lot of us don't have it. They say, good, bro, you good? And really mean,
And really
and
mean it.
really mean,
And really
want to
mean it.
know whether you good.
You know, so what I'm hearing you say is that, you know, we need to create safe spaces for each other, whether it is a friendship, a relationship, husband, wife, well, that's relationship, mother, daughter.
I agree.
We need to create safe spaces.
And that is that's the bigger message. That in all of our relationships, the truth is, I said something to someone today. I said, everything starts and finishes with communication. Everything.
I know I have a friend that we you always say lack of communication leads to miscommunication. And we had lack of communication for almost a year. And when we sat down and realized that it was miscommunication because we did not communicate.
Yeah.
I felt so horrible that I missed out on a summer and a fall and a winter of her life because miscommunication or lack of communication. And so it's important that we feel important enough to share with the ones we love or how we feel. And we do
But
each
our
other.
ego, baby, our ego wants to win.
A lot of times it's not ego.
Oh, really?
I will say.
Okay, well, tell me
that-
why you didn't speak to her.
Say what?
Well, tell me why you didn't speak to her. If it wasn't your ego.
It wasn't ego. I was talking about in our relationship, but
I turned it around.
no, but it wasn't ego. It was fear.
Oh, it could be fear too.
It was fear. It had nothing to do with ego. It was a fear of
Okay,
being
I
rejected.
stand corrected.
Yeah, you know.
Well, what fear of what though?
The fear of being rejected. If somebody is not speaking to you and you reach out to them and they leave you on red, or they don't respond, then you're dealing with a whole different feeling or a whole different issue that just compiles, just
That's
adds
fair.
on to it.
That's fair. That's fair. And I see that. I do see that. But sometimes, we have to fight that fear.
Most definitely.
Because once you fought that fear, the weight was lifted off.
And
that weight, it weighs us down. It's like an anchor around us.
it is, and you don't realize it
'Cause you
until
can
you're
start
free.
walking with it.
Yeah, you just start walking with the limp.
It's kind of like when I weighed 420 some pounds. I walked with all that weight for so long, it was long enough.
Yeah.
That I had gotten used to navigating with that weight.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was uncomfortable, even though it was sometimes almost unbearable, but I got used to living like that.
Mm-hmm. It just became like, I say, as far as that goes, I didn't realize that I felt bad until I started feeling better.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty profound.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty profound. Okay. What else you got on that paper?
Okay, the last thing was the disconnect when he shared that he didn't feel like they were connected in the relationship. So how do you share that, and we'll leave with that. How do you share that you don't feel connected to someone that you were once connected to?
Well, what you do is you use our language again.
Again, okay.
When this happens, when we don't talk like we used to, when we don't go out like we used to, I feel disconnected, which causes me to isolate myself from you. I need to talk. I need for us to have deeper conversation, which makes me feel connected.
Because
You see how I said it though?
and I all of that, it just hit that it is the way that it is presented,
Yes.
is the way that it is received. The way it's presented is the way that it is perceived. If you come at me and say, I'm tired, I'm like, me too. You know what I'm saying?
Do that again. Act that out again.
I'm just saying. I'm not connected. Well, wrap your cord up. You know, it's like, so it's how you present it.
Wow.
What?
Wrap your cord up.
I'm just saying, we're not connected. We'll wrap it up then and go home.
I gave you how to say it. All right. Go
But
ahead.
it is, no, I'm just saying, not just communication, the right communication.
True.
And so that's where the PCC can come in too.
It
Throw
can.
that PCC in again while I look for it.
No, because that's why I created PCC.
Yeah.
Because the words many times don't come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Words matter.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the right words can build you up or tear you down.
Yeah.
So if you're unsure about what that looks like, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com. The AI-powered software designed by yours truly, programmed by yours truly to help people communicate better. Do you need the glasses?
Possibly.
There you go.
Thank you. Maybe, maybe not. So I want to remind you guys while I'm looking for this card to check out my hubby with his fine self every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, MTV on Caught in the Act Unfaithful. Comes on right after Love and Hip Hop. Check him out with his fine self. Let's see, I got to find one that we haven't done.
All I can say, Tuesday nights be crazy. How to purchase. All right, so our producer but first you got to put the game up, Ned.
Oh, I was looking for the doggone thing. You could have been putting it up. I like this one
you got to
right
ship
here.
out some orders for the game anyway.
I do.
On my desk. All right, so y'all, this is our
Lady at the
game.
post office said, "Why I only see you now? Because that's my new job."
Now say that again.
Huh?
He only see you now.
Yeah. It was a lady. It was a she.
Well, they know me, the post office, but not now. That's your job now. All right, y'all, this is the game, Moment of Truth. This is the sex version.
And this is the original.
And this game, order the combo, because what it does is it literally helps you get to know someone else. It is a fun way you can play with the couple. You can play with your significant other. You can play with anybody. It's just some girls' night out. Dudes ain't gonna just play this. But girls' night out, you can play it, and
Some
it's
guys
fun.
may just play this. It may be fun.
Not by themselves, just dudes by themselves?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, they might.
They might. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you know what?
okay.
I'm making an assumption,
Right.
and I don't want to make that assumption.
Thank you, sir.
Some guys might do
Yes.
that.
Thank you.
Okay.
What's the best way for someone to prove they miss you?
Okay.
A, call you and leave you a thoughtful message. B, send you a picture of a memory you made. C, tag you in a thoughtful social media message. Or D, send a picture of their genitals or body part.
D, I send you a picture of my genitalia. Yeah. I tell you.
That's where you tell me you miss me? And send me a picture of your Johnson.
Depending. If that more like the man of steel, yes. Okay. Now if he just hanging around like whatever, then I would, Okay.
What's the best way, audience? What's the best way for someone to prove that they miss you? A, call you and leave a thoughtful message. B, send you a picture of a memory you made. C, tag you in a thoughtful social media post. D, send you a picture of their genitals or body part.
What about you? Which one would
I
be?
would say, send me a picture of a memory that we made. It would make me say, ah. But your thing would make me say, oh. No, I'm
That's what I wanted to say.
just kidding. I can't believe it.
She wasn't kidding. Kid, not kidding.
I can't believe cut.
All right. This
Erase
is good.
that.
Thank you, baby. This is a good
Please
show.
don't let that see the light of day.
No, Taylor.
No, if there's
let
somebody,
that
I would
ride.
be offended unless it was you. I would be offended.
Well, we ain't talking about nobody but me.
Well, I just have been wondering that time, why I don't never get them kind of pictures. Maybe just everybody know I'm married. I don't know. You get pictures from women?
No.
Never.
I mean, it's been, what, 20 years? I don't know. 30 years?
You don't know. You always, when he don't want to answer something. that brother
No,
be
I
like,
ain't got no,
I don't know.
Nobody's sending me no pictures. They
You know what? I don't know.
Ain't nobody sending me no pictures.
Scallywag done sent you no picture.
Mm-mm. I mean, I got some partners that might send me a video of,
But ain't no scallywag
Nah.
done sent you no picture.
Nah, partner might be like, yo, check this video out. It's good. But other than that, no.
Y'all, thank you so much for joining us.
She always
You
try to trick me
scallywags,
up.
stay scallying over there. Thank you so very much.
Scallies. They scallies. Hey, they're scallies.
Y'all, thank you for joining us on another Thursday evening. I can't. We appreciate it so very much, guys. We are the Canions, and we are out.
Scallies.